This is my van. I had only 2 weeks to put this build together with a budget of $5,000 for the van and the build. But I never had any issues after 1 year of mostly urban van life. I'll take you through some of the clever and not so clever features, what the most expensive things cost, and the simple things I did to make it stealthy.
Now, to be stealthy, you gotta blend in. As you might have noticed, I built this thing out to look like a construction van. When you look in from the front, you see construction vest and a hard hat, which is actually mine from when I worked in construction. So I'm not completely faking it. So now that we're inside, you can probably see behind me what looks like a bunch of USPS boxes. It's actually just one USPS box that I unfolded and made to look like the back was full of boxes. Another way to blend in a little bit. Now, before we head to the back, let's take a closer look at that wood on the roof. Now, when you don't look too closely, this wood just looks like normal lumber from the sides. But now that you're up here, you can see it's actually solar panels. Now, I know it looks kind of funky with the big panel and the small panel, but trust me, this was the best way to get 300 watts up here, working with the length of the lumber to hide it all. And so we got one layer of lumber on the bottom that is supporting the solar panels, and then around the sides, I cut out, like cutting out a book, I cut out pieces of lumber and made it look a little uneven on the end just to make it even more believable. The wires go down through here and they come into the van right there. So of course you also have to have an air vent of some kind too. I didn't put much effort into hiding it. You can't really see it from that side of the van. You can see it from the back and from this side of the van though. I was gonna put a ladder on this side of the roof to make it look even more like a construction van, but I ran out of time and it turns out I didn't really need it anyway. Now, going in and out of your van in the city from the side door, not super stealthy. So I built this little doggy door so I can crawl through from the front seat. And despite being 6 foot 180, I've gotten pretty good at going through this thing. Alright, welcome to the back of the van. Like I said, this is a budget van. Most of the wood back here is reclaimed, recycled wood. This little side storage unit I built entirely out of pallet wood, which I think gives it a nice touch. I have a couple storage areas here by the bed. Down here I keep all the little stuff that's important, like creatine powder and sunscreen. And then up here I keep all of the clothes that I wear most often. And on top, this is where I keep all of my food. A pretty simple diet. So if I ever do feel like eating more than protein powder, I will open this up and cook on here. I'm actually forgetting the name of this. I'll put it in the video. But this has had no problems. It does very well. It's very reliable. It just clicks on like that. Like, I don't know why you would need electric or anything. Got that hooked up to the standard propane tank down here. Next to that, I got a simple water jug with a simple hose going into a simple foot pump. This thing's actually been frozen and several times, and it still works after that. So it's also very reliable. Hose just comes up, back down into the sink, put your foot on the pump. It's pretty easy. You know, honestly kind of think the electric stuff is overrated. You really don't need it. Save yourself the money. I never had time to build proper doors or cabinets or anything down here. So, I've kind of just got everything stuffed in there. More food, paper towels, you know, all your standard kitchen stuff is in there. Frisbee. But, I don't really have any trouble with stuff sliding out, and it doesn't look super slick and cool and modern, but it gets the job done. And right next to the bed here, I got my little fridge. I have it locked up with this little hook here, just so it doesn't slide out around the turns. I have it on these sliding rails, which are the cheapest I could get on Amazon, and they don't work super well anymore. No surprise, but they do good enough. This little guy has done so well. Throughout the winter months, it got a little bit of a break, and it actually got so cold in the van that I was using the fridge to keep things from freezing, if that makes any sense. What I didn't think of, though, is that when you open this, it nearly hits my electrical stuff here, and I actually damaged these doing that, so now I have a little block that I taped here, and that just keeps the fridge from running into the USB port and the light dimmers here. So in the bottom of my storage thing here, I have my little electrical center. In here I have my charge controller coming off the solar panel, and all the wiring is hidden back in here. And down under here I got my 200 amp hour lithium iron phosphate battery. Now I got the cheapest possible, these are the cheapest possible dimmers and USB port that you can get online on Amazon. I would recommend getting something a little bit nicer. They're kind of flimsy, they break easy. I've had to replace them already. One is for the kitchen. The other one is for the bed area. This was $25. It plugs into the cigarette lighter under my bed, and I can charge my laptop on here as well as a bunch of USBs. This is awesome. It's got this little switch on the back. Always remember that the O means off. Moving on, we do have the vent fan. Now this is a max air fan, but it's the cheapest one you can get, and it only pulls air out. I would highly recommend getting one that pulls air in too, one that goes both directions. It's like, I don't know, $40 or $50 more. Otherwise it's simple. It's manually opened and closed, and it's got 4 settings. It's pretty loud in here. But you can't actually hear it that much outside. A cool feature that I built to work with this fan is this little hole over here in the countertop. This is a vent that goes down to the street. And when I have this fan running, pulling air out, this air will actually be drawn through this hole and then across the stove. So if I'm cooking and I have, you know, steam and hot air and carbon dioxide, whatever, this will create a draft across the stove and then up to the vent fan, which has been super useful. Similar to that, I also built a small little vent in the back here, in the back door, that goes into the license plate holder. So you can't see this from the outside. But when I have that vent fan running up top, air will be sucked in through this hole as well. And this is nice at night when I'm sleeping right here. I can have fresh air coming in right over the bed where I'm sleeping. The bed itself is the same width as a queen, but obviously I couldn't make it that long. Being 6 foot tall, I do have to sleep diagonal. but I can completely stretch out and have plenty of room to sleep diagonally in the van, and it's worked. Now, I do currently share this bed with the guitar, but there is plenty of room for both of us. The mattress is really just a mattress topper. It's 4 inches, and it's got the thicker foam on bottom and the softer foam on top. It's not luxury, but I wanted something that wouldn't sacrifice too much head height or storage underneath the bed, so I got a thin mattress, and it's been fine. So underneath the bed is nothing special. It's just where I keep all the stuff I use less often, and it's packed full in there right now. I'm not even gonna go down there. I have Velcro that's just glued on to the back, and I got Velcro that goes around the perimeter of the window. So if I need to, I can just line these up, and they line up perfectly. That is 100% light proof. No light gets out from that. All right, y'all, that's enough hanging out in the van. It's time to get back outside. I have a bunch of cool trips planned, places to see, things to do, and you're not gonna wanna miss it.